We'll call the meeting to order. It's probably 5:03 by now. I want to say something to start off with here. We are, as required by law, I think July 1st it is, we have to start recording the meetings, and Chris is here, and we're recording the meeting tonight, so keep it clean and civil. And starting in July or late June, whatever, these will be recorded and archived so people can go look at them whenever they so choose. So we'll start with welcome everybody. We'll start with the reading of the minutes from 4:10. And if everybody's already read them, we won't have to read them. However, I do have a couple of things I want to point out that have been accomplished and didn't get into the agenda for tonight's meeting. Let me find them. We'll get to that in a minute. The new recliners have been ordered. Feasibility study discussion. Possibly I should have marked these.
Maybe you can find it when you're going through this.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know what I did with it. We'll go ahead with, does anybody, I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes as published.
Make a motion to accept the minutes as published.
I'll second it. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. We dispense with the minutes. Next item is the April report. Are you able to bring those up? Okay, since we're not a territory any longer, we'll fly through all the budget accounts for the township. The first one is the township fund. And since this is through April, that's a third of the year. So the budget amounts or the percentage used over on the right-hand side, I understand you can't read this. We're working on doing better. But anyhow, in the township fund, the ones that I've highlighted are slightly over 33.33%. The professional services over, it's at 50%. But it's not a lot of money. Printing and advertising is at 42%. And again, shouldn't be over 33 if everything would happen equally each month. But the good news is the total for the township fund is at 23%. So we're on schedule with that, or ahead of schedule. The poor relief is the next one. And that again should be 33 1/3. It to be on schedule with our budgeting. And we're at 5%. So we're well ahead of schedule on that. I do have a question at the bottom highlighted in red. There's a negative number there. And that question's for Judy.
Yeah.
Or Keith, whoever. Why is there a negative number? That's the cash balance as of 4/30/2025 is a negative number.
Wonderful new program.
It's not a big deal. You can probably something got moved or maybe there's too, I don't know. I just happened to notice that.
We have a brand new accounting system that is very difficult to know.
That's in 0101?
No, that's in
0840.
poor relief.
Oh.
0840.
0.2. We have two of them.
you can work on that.
I'd have to look.
Next one is the fire fund. And again, it should be 33 1/3, not to exceed that, if to be on schedule. The first one I have highlighted is insurance and workers' comp. That's at 77%. And that's front end loaded. So you pay that up front,
Yep.
pretty much. The next one, building maintenance, is we've already shot our wad for the year. We're over. And, we'll deal with that later. Truck repairs is over for the year, but, we're not, I think you had to put tires on some trucks and some other things.
We did our annual PMs and stuff too. They went to the shop for oil changes and
And then contracts and services is also over at 58%. And what would that be?
Contracts that we have with annual contracts and
So these are front end loaded. Some of
yes, a couple of them are,
the contracts,
a couple of those are front end loaded.
the contracts are at 58%. And I,
yeah, we had that first due that was
Oh, yeah, that
16,000.
13 or
Yeah, 13,000.
so that new
Okay.
software for the, cruise sense.
Yeah.
again, we're gonna have to speak up, so
Yeah.
microphone's right here. All right. But the good news is for the year, we're close at 35% there at the bottom. So we're just a little bit over in total. Really, the State Board of Accounts is only concerned about the major categories. The individual line items are for our own convenience and budgeting. And so it's, that being said, okay, that's the end of the quarterly. Cumulative fund is the next one. We budgeted $150,000. We've only spent, 779.37. No, I'm sorry. Year to date, we spent 10,000. And we're at 6%, so we're okay there. The next one is the cash balances. That's in all banks. That's in, Trust Indiana and also PNC. It's a total. And I've just highlighted the ones that pertain to the fire. Well, not really, to the township. So we got the rainy day fund. You got a balance of 12,000 in there. Township fund, 161,256. Township assistance, we got 56,257. Now that one, we do not take any, we're living off of a cash balance. We don't take tax money for the township assistance or TIF, or not TIF, lit. Correct?
Right,
So
no lit.
at some point, we'll have to start budgeting for that, but you know, our experience with township assistance has been great in terms of the expenditure. Township fire and EMS, we've got $565,016 there. Cume fund, we got $701,116. Now, the reason we got a lot of cash balances in the Cume fund, we sold the trucks when we settled up with Portage and sold the trucks and so on and so forth. That's why our cash balance is running higher in those two funds, the Township Fire and the Cume Fund. And then again, highlighted there in red is the fire protection territory, which is defunct.
That has to do with some perk associated when we divide it up that, we've got to figure out. I think it belongs to Portage or their guys, but we have to sort that out.
Okay, so those last three accounts there are left over from the fire territory that we're no longer a part of. And
What just the
is the payroll deductions
payroll deductions
is still,
is all of the payroll deductions.
That
So
you hold-
money goes in there when it's deducted from the payroll.
so that
And then
one's,
it goes out when the bills are paid.
we'll still have that account. But the next, those two, check.
That 9999
Okay,
represents about 14.
that's money you withhold from a guy's check until you
Yeah,
pay the
federal
bill.
withholding, state, FICA, Medicare, then all of the deductions go in there. And then when we pay those individual, it washes them back out. So the reason that there's a balance there is because most of your healthcare and those deductions, we deduct per paycheck, but we only pay them monthly. So with 26 pay periods, it gets a little.
Yeah. Any questions or comments on the financials? Okay, the next item on the agenda is additional appropriations. As we talked, and maybe that's one of the things I was looking at the old minute I was going to bring up. We talked about holding off until we got a good idea where we were cash wise after the separation from Portage, and we're now in that position. And we're considering additional appropriations in 3 funds. The Fund 0101 Township Fund, we think we can do an additional appropriation of $70,000 there if need be. The Fund 1111, which is a Township Fire and EMS, we're thinking about $100,000 there. And then the Fund 1190, the Cumulative Fire Fund, we're looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of 300,000 there. So it's a lengthy process to do these additional appropriations. There has to be advertisements in the paper and public meetings and so on and so forth. Now, if you're here for the first time, don't run away and think we're going to jack up taxes to do this. This is cash we already have that's sitting there. Primarily, a lot of it resulted from the dissolution with the fire territory. So this is money that there's 2 things. You have your appropriation or your budget, and that's what you're allowed to spend. But DLGF has approved that. But you also have a cash balance, which is hopefully more than what your budget is. And it's cash that's there, but we're merely asking for approval to spend it through the state government, through the DLGF. So does that make sense?
It's kind of like a bank account.
I've only been doing this for 40 years and it took me 30 to figure it out. So it's just a matter of getting approval to spend it. So that's the deal there now. I guess I kind of jumped ahead. I think there's a slide that shows capital needs. There you go. You can't read it, but I sent it out to the board members. This is a list that was prepared by the chief and with the input from the firefighters, and it's something I've been after for a long time. What is the priority of things we need to be looking at buying? And they come up with a number of things there with a rough expenditure of 75,000. So as I talked about the additional appropriations, we've got enough money to handle all these items.
Maybe not all.
Well, I'm talking about the
Right.
first line, the 75,000, and then they've got a new engine tanker in 3 to 5 years build time, $1 million. These are the kinds of things that we need to plan for in advance. And so that's really the impetus on coming up with this list. Some radios, turnout gear, other things are on there. So I think we're going to be able to do a lot of the things on here, if not all of them. And again, if you want more detail, you passed out.
Yeah.
So I think we're in good shape to be able to address a lot of those issues. Any questions on that?
It's not a capital item, but one of the bigger expenses might be getting all that electronic equipment. Other side, that is
On the,
That's on, it's in here. We don't have a price on it, or do we?
we got a quote.
Move electrical from Bay Wall to office.
Yeah, sorry.
And some of that got held up because we were thinking, what are we gonna do with the building? And,
One of the places we were considering moving, it's not available if they put a stairwell in.
right. So, but we brought the feasibility studies back on the list here, and that's 15,000.
Shower bottoms about 55.
Yeah, there you go. That's, Judy, you're gonna go over and hug him for that idea. aren't
What did you say? Did you say?
you? He said,
any
put up a
money?
shower curtain around the stuff.
Oh, okay. I'll even bring one from home. Won't even charge them.
I think you could probably get one at Goodwill too. Okay. Any other questions or comments about this? Okay, the new, I guess we're ready for old business, the new BC vehicle. I see it's gone. What does that mean?
So we've been using it. They had a clicking noise in the front end, so when we got the squad back from getting serviced, I took it down. The hubs hadn't been used, the lockout four-wheel drive, so they got those working. I told them.
Are those manual lockouts or you gotta do it from inside?
Manual.
So you have to get out and,
Yeah. Well, I had him go ahead and go through it. The brakes were bad. So he's gonna put a detailed list and I'm gonna send that invoice to Brimley Mountain. So,
okay,
so,
so it's,
correct, yeah. And then we had a lighting issue with it. The crew members, figured that issue out, got that taken care of. Then we've been waiting on the floor plate, so we can mount the computer in there. That is in, but the truck's gone. So when that gets back, then we'll get that mounted in there.
so, those of you who've used it, is it,
Nice vehicle. Oh, yeah.
you're happy with it? Okay, great. The union contract, I guess amongst ourselves, we will sign it as long as the backfilling, the bone of contention for those that don't know how we're gonna fill if we're a man short. Our full staffing is 5 men. And that's up from 3 when we were part of the territory. That's one of the things we tried to do when we left the territory was add people. But we were of the intention and we budgeted that if there was a guy, we could operate a man short for a short period of time. And so we will agree to the contract as long as we say a on-call.
Well,
You can stop at the on-call. If you need somebody, you will go with an on-call, but not the whole other process of full-time.
but we,
When we meet up, then we can discuss that and
Okay,
get it clarified. even more
but that,
to you
yeah,
guys.
we need to get this off the table and,
yes. I don't know, you want him to have
Now,
this?
that was the next thing on the list was the feasibility study. So I went ahead and made a copy of that.
okay. The next item was a feasibility study and we had this from Arcos Design back in October or whenever it was last year. We put it on hold and we need to have them update it, but I'm gonna make a motion that we proceed with that. This is to study our facilities here and where we're lacking a lot of places. One option would be to build out the second floor. There may be other options that come up. There'll be a committee assigned to give input on this with the architects, but it's to study what we can do here to solve our shortcomings in our facility. So I didn't bring it to sign it tonight because it needs to be updated, the dates and so on, but if we can vote on it to go ahead with it, as soon as that's done, we'll get the date and everything updated and,
I can make the motion.
pardon me?
I can make the motion and
Okay. Gail made the motion that we go ahead with the feasibility study. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carried unanimously. Okay, next on the list, surplus equipment. The status, the chief's truck, the Tahoe, which I guess we already settled with Portage on the Tahoe, correct? Yeah, we've already settled that. So the two remaining things were the chief's truck and engine 41 sitting here. And I got the, you guys still feel like we need to keep the chief's truck for hauling hose and so on.
We use it quite a bit for that.
We've already paid for that. too.
Oh, we did?
Pretty sure.
I didn't. Well, we said we were gonna sell it, so I don't know if you have to verify that. But if we haven't settled it, it's only $7,975. So I guess it's not a big deal in terms, we couldn't get anything else to do what we're trying to do.
They got I took the Tahoe today to Gates and they give me if it was on their lot, minus obviously all the fire stuff, they would advertise it for 39,000.
Well, the Tahoe,
The Tahoe.
well, we've
Right, so that's all been.
so I'm gonna propose we go ahead and keep the chief's truck.
Okay.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
I,
Motion carried, so it just remains to be seen whether we've already paid them for it.
Then I'll update on engine 41. Department come in from Ohio. They looked at it. It's 10 years newer than the one they had, but they said it's in about the same shape as the one they have, so they weren't interested in it. So Tom and I talked and I went back on the website, we're advertising it. And we dropped it down to 175,000 from 200,000. So let's see where it goes from there.
So the thing that's turning them off is the undercarriage, the corrosion.
Yeah, he said they had the same corrosion issue with theirs, so they weren't interested in it.
Chassis.
No, different chassis, but same.
Same condition.
Yeah, they use the liquid stuff over in Ohio too. It's coming up the trucks underneath.
Okay, the next item is the Clay Penn Center Territory Status Resolution. I think I have a copy in there.
I printed off a copy of it.
Yeah, there, yes, so I've got it and it's up there. So we've got copies of the audience. If you read it, if you did your homework,
I got one.
it really isn't binding. It doesn't say that we positively are stating up front that we're going to join the territory when it happens, but it basically we're going to participate in the research and the study and so on. But I think we're, as a board, are inclined to join when that time comes. So signing the resolution really doesn't make it mandatory that we join, but it was something that Clay prepared this, they signed it, Penn signed it, so I think it's time for us to go ahead and sign it. I move we
Right, yeah.
sign this. Yes,
Apologize for my ignorance on some of this stuff. You're talking about the new fire territory as opposed to a county-wide fire territory.
yes. There's right now, there's a St. Joe County territory that just went into, it happened after we got out of the territory with Portage. It's Portage and Warren. And so they had grand ideas that the entire county would be in that territory. In the meantime, just recently, people from Clay and Penn approached us, so probably it was back in December last year, And they were thinking they would try to get it to go into effect in this year, but
26.
there's too many public meetings and things that had to take place. I actually proposed to start a territory several years ago with Penn, and they didn't want anything to do with us because their tax rate is like 21 cents right now. Ours is 47. And their board said, we're not going to join any territory where it's going to increase our tax rate. Well, what's happened now with the St. Joe County territory and the salaries that they're paying, plus South Bend, plus Elkhart and so on, there's a lot of movement amongst the fire service of people moving around for the higher pay, which is understandable. We are, if we were to pay, don't match those salaries right now, on average, across the board, we'd have to increase the salaries about 18%. And we're not in a position to do that. Now, if this territory happens, the salaries would go up and our tax rate would be about the same, or maybe even less, at 47 cents. Clays and Penns would go from 21 for Penn, I think it's 25 for Clay. Don't hold me to those numbers, but their tax rate will almost double. They think they can swing that, but there's just a lot of competition in the fire service right now. And for us, the good news is our tax rate really shouldn't go up by joining it. And we'd have probably better service, better training, better administration and so on. I mean, so I think it's kind of a no-brainer for us. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, sort of. And again, I've talked with the chief a couple of times in Cody, and I've kind of been catching up on what all this terrorism stuff is. I've been baffled by it. I was on this department in the 70s and 80s. And of course, it was a whole different ballgame back there.
Oh, yeah.
And so now I'm doing all this territory. I never really quite understood all of it.
Well, okay, to really answer that question, the reason for the territory is when you go to do your budget, well, first off, the transition from volunteer department to a professional or a paid full-time fire department is a whole different ballgame. And so when you go to do your budgeting, the DLGF or the state limits your increase in budget to whatever they determine the growth quotient is every year. So as an example, I think our growth quotient last year was 4%. So if you have to make a jump from the volunteer department or from, if you need, whatever, if you need, your funds need to go up a bunch, you never get there with the growth quotient. So somebody in their infinite wisdom determined that, oh, let's do a fire territory. And if you do a territory, the state allows you to have like an unlimited levy that first year. So that's a way that you can
And
really upgrade your service or whatever you're operating, but then it's the only way that you can get around it all.
And I understand the aspect of the paid people was to volunteer back when I was doing it. Everybody, my brother wanted to be a part of it. Now you can't folks volunteer walk across the street. You know, so I understand I believe in the paid aspect of it. It's still just a little confusing, but thank you for your explanation.
Yeah, I mean, it's things have changed and the fire service used to just fight fires. And now we're medics. And the amount of things that are required from the fire service and the EMS now has gone up
Licensing and required.
dramatically. You know, it used to be the bell would ring and Carl Schaefer or you would come and jump on the truck and go fight the fire. And if somebody was hurt, you'd call the funeral home and the ambulance would come. And so those days are long gone.
Right.
Does that answer it?
Yeah.
Okay,
Thanks, sir.
okay, where are we?
For no, we have not paid them for the chief's truck.
I didn't think so.
So according to this, our portion will be 79.75.
that we have to pay them.
Yeah.
Because
Yes, I've got it in the agenda. I looked it up on our spreadsheet.
Yeah, it was appraised at 24.5.
Yeah, so a third of that roughly. Yep,
Have to
Okay.
We might have to increase our additional appropriations.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah, no problem with that. Okay, anything else on old business? Fire chief's report.
So the new timekeeping system, it's known as First Due. What that does is it takes all the platforms we have, our scheduling, our inspections, our training records, all those are different platforms. That brings it all into one system. We're building that every day. Chief Zach Mark's working on that. We just got with GIS and got the mapping system in there, the hydrant system in there. So every day it's building, doing more information. So hopefully here pretty soon we'll
Is
start.
this a living document? In other words, it's never done?
Correct. As we do inspections, pre-planning, that information's put in there. So anything changes, it changes in the system. And then what happens is let's say we do an inspection at the gas station next door. I know it's in the city, but what happens is if we get a call there, all that information, what's in that building and so forth is populated on the computer. Then when you do your run report, that's also all already pre-done. So when the firefighters, the officers go to do their run report, a lot of the documentation should already be inputted. Because it all ties together. And then I was watching a training, a video the other day with it. There's an AI portion. So let's say we have a fire. The battalion chief or the captain can sit down, talk to the computer, and it starts taking them words, putting in there. And then when you're done, double check it. You click to accept and all that gets dumped into the run report. So you don't have to physically sit there and type your run report. And then
So do they keep adding features to this? I guess that's kind
Yeah,
of,
it's constantly updating.
yeah, it's constantly,
It's a cloud-based product.
yeah. And then in the,
and you never get it, you never own it. Every year there's a
and then
license fee.
And then this ties into, so the fire reporting now is known as NIFRS, National Incident Fire Reporting System. It's going to a new, it's called NERIS, and I don't remember what NERIS stands for, but it's more detailed, fact finding. They want to know more information about fires and medical calls. And so hopefully they can take that data and provide better service and funding and those type of things.
Is Vector part of this?
No.
I've been getting messages from Vector.
Yeah, they're trying to get caught up. They're way behind on it. That's why we went to this First Due. Okay,
That does scheduling and everything.
it has a scheduling app. I could show, I didn't bring it down, but it's got a picture of everything it does and everything from investigations, inspections, scheduling.
You'll be done with that.
Yeah, everything. Yeah, once this is on, everything's done. Yep.
So when you need to backfill or call some, does that put in there too? If
Yeah,
you're short,
yep. It basically does the same thing we're doing now. It's just a new program,
You were using CruiseSense and
which was part of Vector, which is,
so how do the guys access it or can they?
it'll be the same way. We'll have classes on it and everything. They'll have access to it.
all that.
Yeah, all that'll be,
So vacations and stuff like that, all that's in there. Or I should say PTO.
PTO.
Okay,
So we had 70 runs in April. As of today, I think we're at 405 calls year to date. So we're averaging about 3 calls a day.
Do you have a breakdown on how much are EMTs and how much are fires?
I can do that, yeah. The best practices, I get Been getting, policies from them. I'm not real happy with the policies we've been getting, so I'm gonna call them and see if we can get the ones that we truly need. But Chris Bowman took it upon himself to take our current policies that we have and remove Southwest Central Fire off of it, put Center Township Fire. So we still have those we can revert back to. So I appreciate him doing that. And I've been going through those, looking at them to,
So what are we using for our handbook at the present time?
we're still using the old because we don't have enough information yet from this new one to create a new one from
And,
them.
and we never got on the one we just switched away from either completely, did we?
That's the one
That's what
that,
he's talking
yeah, that's the one Chris took all the information off of.
So that's the one we're using.
Currently, yeah.
And how,
Penske law.
No, he took the ones from, he took the
Oh,
one from Lexipol,
Lexipol's what they're currently.
right? And then,
Okay, so we're not using this. I was on,
no, that's the old one.
yeah,
so how,
is that what you think?
how long ago was it that it was updated? Do you know?
Which one,
The Lexipol that we're using to
The
write.
Lexipol.
they update it every month. Yeah, they constantly, yeah.
And as far as our policies,
Do you print them out and have a booklet of them, or you just?
No, they're on,
we're
more
gonna share it.
yeah, they're gonna share it, because there's like 700 and some pages.
Yeah, if I actually had, all I did was download it. Well, I mean, like, these guys take care of that, but I mean, if I understand the process, you, whoever else plus Ryan,
Miller's been,
will be going through that document, and then once you're sure that it's at least status quo, it will get,
stamp of approval.
stamp approval and then get out SharePoint for the internal, not external, but the internal.
So out of the 700 pages, only the ones that are applicable to us will get,
Well, that 700 pages are ours. Because it talks about how we operate on fires, everything from doing rehab to, talks about PTSD, there's,
So, yeah, you got policies and procedures,
yeah, policies and procedures, and,
all got it.
yeah, the whole program is about 700 pages.
we never fully got Lexipol fully,
implement.
we never got it fully implemented.
Yeah, it was implemented, it constantly just kept building.
Wasn't updated.
As things changed, they would like if a law would change, they would send you an update. Like say they just, price wise, they priced themselves out of business. They're just so expensive.
I think the difference in this new program, I don't want to speak out of turn, but if I understood it from our conversation, different things say as a whole, where your policy and procedures reside in Lexipol.
Right.
And you can add and make sure that your policies and procedures are set up as best practices. But Lexipol helping you with that. Which with new system, you're getting policies and things that you can incorporate into your policies, but as far as the documents live, they don't live in that system. They live on our own storage.
Yeah, we have our own
So
story.
basically, a subscription service where he gets policy, best practice, policy updates. and you- and you guys-
So out of the box, you customize it to fit
Us.
us.
Correct.
So you couldn't just say we use Lexipol and that's it, because it wouldn't necessarily all apply.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
So anything else on that?
Guess not. We'll
Okay.
Beat that to
So
death, didn't we?
equipment maintenance, I've got a little list here. So the heating and air conditioning unit, above the original building, went out. The new one should be installed this Friday. So, the unit's in, they got the crane scheduled to be here at 9 o'clock Friday morning. They're gonna be here sooner than that to get the old one disconnected, and hopefully they want the crane in and out in less than 2 hours, so. And they'll take the old one off, put the new one on.
And Goff's doing that.
Golf's doing that. Yeah, they had the cheapest bid in the three.
I just remembered the one thing in the minutes that I was gonna bring up, the generator from Lakeville. We didn't go with that.
And it wasn't much bigger than this one as far as.
And it was a portable unit, diesel.
Portable unit, yeah. The fence between us and Johnson Wickles property got storm damage. Insurance agreed to replace the whole thing because it's in such bad shape. So that is, I got quotes on that.
The whole length.
Yes, they're gonna replace the whole thing. The quotes range from just shy of $5,200 to almost $13,000.
Wow.
So obviously we went with the $5,200 one. Our deductible on that's gonna be $2,500.
Cheap one.
The other day, Tom got a hold of an individual. He come looked at our parking lot. He's gonna get us a quote to, got a sinkhole out here. No matter what we do, every year it just keeps sinking. We keep filling it and it sinks. So he's gonna dig into that to see what he can do to stop that, plus resurface the parking lot. And he's gonna give us a quote to resurface the back here. The storm drains back here, he said that they've settled. He does not foresee them sinking any more than but he didn't feel like we really needed to bring them up. Am I correct on that?
Yeah.
So,
Said if they were his, he wouldn't.
yeah, he said that,
Says, I'll do it if you want it, but you know.
yeah, he didn't see a need to make that expense.
Did he feel like this one had to be repaired?
Well, yeah, because it keeps sinking. These, I didn't understand how drywall, I didn't realize there wasn't a bottom in them.
Yeah, I thought they had.
Yeah, there are holes in the side and there's no bottom.
Right. So they're gonna settle from the beginning somewhat. But in that you can put, he's already got a couple risers on, but he thought the initial settling was done.
The steps going upstairs, they were bad. The firefighters, took it upon themselves to tear them out, replace them. Unfortunately, we put in the cheapest material we could. Within a matter of a couple of days, they started cracking and coming apart. So, we were able, to locate, an individual. And his quote was $1,877.88. And did he give us a time he's gonna come in and do that?
No,
Okay.
because we haven't told him to do it.
Oh, okay, okay. So
Daryl, is he repairing the ones that are, or is
he's
he,
taking them all out, and start over.
and even the steps and everything is
No,
Not
wrong?
steps, just, to do them right. To make sure that it doesn't crack like that again.
Just doing over what we did.
Yeah, that's what he does for a living,
You're
so.
fixing probably the whatever's under it, so it comes out and supports the,
Yeah, because when you step on that front edge, that's where they tore. So do we go ahead and, give him a call and have him go ahead and do this, or?
I say yes.
That's,
Right there's what,
Right.
18.
individual come in today, company, cleaned our carpets upstairs, downstairs, and, cut us a great deal, charged us a full $225 to do it all. And they look good. So,
Does he do parking lots?
and then as Tom, mentioned earlier, it's not really an equipment, but I had it on my list on my, line paper here. The recliners are ordered. They said it'd be 6 to 8 weeks to build those and get those in, so.
They were ordered, what, about 2 weeks ago?
Marquee Electrical.
So Michiana Contractors board and put the conduit in, they run the wire. McCormick's supposed to be here on the 19th. They're gonna hook both ends and change the lights out in there to LED, go away from the old ballast and then, did you get pictures to that guy at US Sign Crafters? I take that as a no. US Sign Crafters, had him come out and look at the center fire on top, that's all kind of fading and falling apart. he was gonna give us a quote to put our logo up there and redo that, so it looks nice.
That was donated by somebody.
Kevin's niece's mom.
Yeah, Kevin Neese, yep. Personnel issues, or we took applications. I had those. We have not went through those. Once we get some of this other stuff behind us, we're gonna jump on those and start going through those. Tomorrow morning, we got the disciplinary hearing for Chris Haggerty. That'll be at 09. We talked about the capital needs.
Yeah. I just want to say one thing about the Chris Haggerty deal there. I don't know if it's new, but there's a whole involved procedure for doing this, which we didn't anticipate. So, our attorney was, taking us down a path that didn't seem to make sense and didn't seem to be like what we'd happened, how we'd conducted things before. But, through separate source, I found out that that's there's Indiana is still an appointment at will state. But there are other factors that play into this, particularly relating to the fire service and the police service. So, that's what we're doing. Okay.
Talk about stairway, grants right now, with, the Doge and the digging in there, they shut down the NFPA or the NFA, the National Fire Academy. So, the academy itself is going to be open for classes, but the grant side of it's still closed. They're still auditing grants that went out and so forth. So there's no grants available right now to the.
So this sign current, that is what, is that a website or is that
I'm not sure what that is. I saw that on there. I'm not sure where that comes from.
well, it was something that came up. I read it someplace. I think it may be a website where you can go find out all the grants that are
Yeah, I'll look.
available. Maybe Google sign current or whatever.
All right, I'll look that up.
Do we still have that one
Brian?
gentleman that's
Yeah.
looking into things too?
Yeah, so once the NFA gets and the grants get opened up again, we'll start.
I think that was what came up at the last meeting about this sign current. If you ask him if he's heard of this,
I will.
he's aware of it.
And then I'm working with my contact to get all of our information switched to Center Township. We had the process where we had 6 different names under Southwest. Well, now we got to get it all over to Center. So I'm in the process of that right now. Else I think of at this point.
Any questions for the chief? Reports from others? Cody?
We already discussed meeting up with that.
I'm done farming for the most part, so whenever.
I got a couple more 18-hour days to get ahead of me then I can get.
Oh, you let us know when you're ready. IT,
I don't have anything to report personally. I don't know if Chris wants to add anything.
I mean, not particularly, it's probably, because it's about a video they got.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of saying, this is probably, yeah, this is happening. I mean, I think it needs the requirements.
Not the only thing different that Portage is doing. They've got that 360-degree teleconference unit.
well, are people able to come in on Teams or stream? Can they come in live and listen to this?
I mean, if we can set it up that way.
Is that one of the requirements? I think it might be.
Well, did they back off of the streaming? Or did they, and say that it's adequate to
I
store it? Or,
don't know whether,
I don't think you have, well, I'm speaking.
I know the county council and everybody in the big puzzle palace downtown.
I think the goal is they want one stream.
Sure.
And I think the requirement is you gotta save them for 90 days. Is that right?
I don't know. I don't,
It's easy enough to stream Critchlow is using like YouTube Live,
Yeah.
and then that just gets set to post teams like this, which is a little more fun. To do that, Facebook, YouTube Live, and then it gets stored on the Center Township YouTube site. And then you're everything, everyone pays, that's what you want to do.
I think we probably ought to head that direction.
It's part of it would be an effort of disseminating, doing your notifications that meetings are going to be held, that information have to be accessible somewhere, so that somebody knows how, what the process is to get on. Live stream.
That teleconference we sat in on was fairly worthless when
Yeah.
they were supposed to make recommendations.
Yeah, I
and in
keep-
the end, they didn't.
And I keep getting emails from them saying, oh, we're having this and we're having, anything we can help with. Oh, when I did call back to, don't you have this recorded? They didn't, the answer was they weren't required to. Come on, they're Indiana State Agency and they're exempt from doing this.
Figure out how we utilize, just have it step by step.
So we'll evaluate how this worked tonight and then go from there.
The only thing is he didn't make that publicly available. That's true.
Right.
I'm recording,
Yeah, okay.
so yeah, it's not streaming. But we.
I'll verify what the,
So the link, you wouldn't want to put, could you put that on the marquee out there if people wanted to?
Well, if you're gonna, if the decision is that we use YouTube Live, which is probably the best approach, then you just make sure, so you would have to put a link out there.
You just-
check out our YouTube page.
Yeah, check YouTube Live and anybody that's probably going to do it is techie enough to be able to go to YouTube Live and figure out how to chime in. Us old people probably wouldn't care.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to look at you.
You can store it right there on YouTube for 90 days.
Okay,
I did have one other thing. Hoosier Fire from Valpo reached out to me. They're having a demo fire truck being built right now. It'll be available early 26. As of right now, it's about 700,000, which is about 300,000 less than anybody else. The only price increase that I see coming is they have it spec'd with a Cummins L9 engine, which is no longer made because of the new emissions requirements. So it's gonna have to be an X10 or bigger, which is about a $90,000 increase. But I just wanted to put that out there if that's something we wanna, and we don't have to go to bid on it. We can go through Sourcewell and you don't have to go to bid. That's a government bidding, automatic bidding process. So
but would it be built to? They're arbitrarily picking what the options and what all.
I've got the spec sheet, the picture, and I've had it out here and other than one individual said he thought it needed a couple more emergency lights on it. My input or
Your feeling?
opinion.
my feeling from what I've been hearing from the firefighters is this would work. This would definitely meet our needs. It's very similar to what we have now.
So what, I've been,
No, it's built by Spartan.
No, I say similar to the.
Yeah, other than a side mount, it has a top mount like these two do, panels. It's a Spartan chassis and body. Spartan chassis, coin body, but yeah, they don't build very many spec trucks.
You're never gonna make again. How would you get parts for it? Did he say something?
no,
about the
you were going to have to upgrade. You'd still get parts.
Oh, yeah, that's not a problem.
What truck what's the next one to get rid of?
The 99, those two.
So then you would, use the the new one now, plus,
This would be a reserve, or we could swap them monthly, and that way we're not wearing them both out.
how soon you gotta let them know.
I'll call him tomorrow and ask.
Well,
And I got some information through, Chief Schweitzer at New Carlisle. They purchase all their stuff through that Sourcewell. That way they don't have to bid it. That way they can get exactly the company they want. So, and they're a Pierce department, so
what's a higher priority, remodeling the building or ordering a truck? Or will the price of trucks come down?
I don't see that happening.
No,
Something to think of.
I mean, those are two huge ticket
They
items,
are very huge. Yeah, I understand that.
the building and the,
I just wanted to let you know that that truck is gonna be available. So, and I don't know how long.
your buddy from Toyne, are they building anything spec trucks?
No, they're so far behind on building spec trucks. They don't have any demos built. And everything they had at the fire show this year was already sold. The departments that bought them allowed them to display them at the,
So why is this outfit in a position to,
some of them are building spec trucks, and
they must not be that busy that they got
that
time?
I don't know. They sell a lot of trucks. They've sold a lot of trucks. I was going through their deliveries for Indiana, and especially around the Indianapolis area, they've delivered quite a few trucks down there. So,
I guess the bigger question is, what's the bigger need?
Yeah,
The question is, I know you're gonna go ahead with this feasibility study, but as the board, are you gonna wanna put money into this building if a year and a half from now, we're gonna be joining another district?
well, that's a question that I've wrestled with that too. I guess we need to talk to Doris and whatever, I'm thinking she's gonna, whatever. The question is, how many people would they plan to operate this station with? That would change things.
So I just thought to throw that out,
No,
a good idea, a thought to think about, so.
I've been thinking about it.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's a good point.
that's all I have.
So for $15,000, we're gonna find out what it would take and whether we want to do it or not, or whatever.
Let's talk to Doris first and see what you said. We're gonna check with Doris and see about them, whether we need to build on or what we're gonna
Yeah,
do.
well, we have some, yeah,
She won't have any idea. That'll be up to the chiefs, what we do with personnel, and
right. But she could. We'll get that group together, the chiefs, and maybe start with her. All right, anything else? I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Seconded.
Been a motion made and seconded, all in favor? Aye. Motion carried unanimously. Thanks for coming.